All right. So apologies for that live stream being cut off, but I had to get the dog washed right quick. So, anywho, winning and losing and lost ones. I think that people are going to see the potential of Roe v. Wade being overturned as a win. And I think there's plenty to celebrate from that. It will not outlaw abortion, but it will certainly be something that is positive. Now, people will fight back against it. And some states will continue. This will be fought in numerous courts. Believe me, there are plenty of folks out there who are going to come out of the woodwork and are going to give money to make sure that abortion maintains its power. But I wanted to finish my point really on this whole Ethan Crumley kid. I don't condone what he did at all. I want to make sure of that, legally speaking. I do not condone what he did. But this manipulation and this precedent to call him a terrorist is something we've been prepped for a long time. You can refer to my video where I was talking about it. Basically, that Ethan Crumley's parents are being charged with involuntary manslaughter because they bought him the firearm and they saw it as a Christmas present. His parents have fled. They have fled to, they took out $3,000 from an ATM. They had a Kia Seltos. Let me see here. K through 12. They took out $3,000 from an ATM and they went to a neighboring city. Now, apparently there are lawyers that say, in other words, two attorneys say they're representing the couple, released a statement that said the Crumleys have left town for their safety and are returning for an arraignment. The thing is that it's not looking good. They are going to find whatever they can to charge this kid. So it all depends on your perspective. It really does. If you are Catholic, if you are Orthodox Christian, if you are even evangelical to a point, you will see Roe v. Wade as a victory for the unborn. I'm not going to counteract that. What I will say is that there are, like I say, there are multiple sides to any story. And living life in the United States, while people see, this issue of abortion as victory, I do as well, is that there are going to be more authoritarian measures. This kid is being charged with terrorism and murder. He's being put in county lockup, a 15-year-old. It's going to get bad. And this is going to set massive precedents. This should be a warning. This should be a warning. And this will be seen as a warning. So that anyone else who is a school shooter who is white, let's be honest, if you do that, you too are going to be charged with terrorism. You will not get a slap on the wrist. Part of this comes from the Rittenhouse trial, yes, but part of it also comes from the fact that the excuses will no longer fly. This attempt at trying to maintain, some sort of balance is shifting. They don't want balance. They want to keep power. And if you want me to be more specific about you can talk about, judges, mayors, Dems, whomever you want to. Bureaucrats, my deep state, whatever term you want to use. But I'll clarify with they. And so they're going to throw the book at this kid. They're going to use the Patriot Act against him, and they're going to manipulate him and his parents, because since their parents are being charged, they're going to use this as leverage to get him to say more, to admit to more, so that they can put him away. And he's going to be made an example because they couldn't get Kyle Rittenhouse, at least in my opinion. Maybe that's paranoia. Maybe that's just crazy, but it's going to get bad. So you can be, like I say, and let me clarify once again. I'll wrap this up. But you can be excited over Roe v. Wade getting overturned, but don't be a simp. I see this guy, Red Eagle Politics. I don't have anything against this guy. But the thing is, I know that he was kind of like, he was an AF supporter, Nick Fuentes supporter and whatnot. And now, of course, his religious views are showing through. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's saying this as an example, like, well, yeah, this is the one decent thing Republicans have done. It's just like, no, Republicans will find a way to wimp out on this. Like I said, there's so many. There's so much of this battered wife syndrome that exists amongst conservatives and just general right-wing people who want to continue to simp for Republicans as if, well, the Republican Party itself may be bad, but DeSantis, bro, or this and that. You guys are pitiful. You guys are pitiful. Why would you go to a party that does nothing to protect you? Like I said, this kind of feeds into the attitude that a lot of people have that are exasperated. They say, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you waking up? Why aren't you going out in the streets? Why aren't you doing something? And of course, then when you say, oh, you mean like so-and-so? Well, they have a podcast. They're waking people up. And that's it. The thing is, it goes back to this, where it's like, even if you have this event that occurred, that this kid, what occurred with this, Evan Crumley kid, you're going to be made a terrorist. I just, like I say, there are a lot of people who talk about being revolutionary, whatnot, but they don't want to. They don't want to get arrested and do the torture. That's really what it is. And we're headed down that road. I think there are plenty of people who talk that talk, but they don't want to walk the walk. And by the way, I don't really necessarily want to walk the walk either. And I try not to call myself a revolutionary. I see myself as somebody who's observing this country continuing to grasp, desperately holding on with arthritic hands, power. Or slowly they're just trying to hang on, just trying to choke whatever life is out there, out of you. And it's depressing. It is. And yeah, people wish, like I said, I can understand both sides of it, where it's like, yeah, I'm exasperated, I'm frustrated with this too. But I don't want to go out by myself. And I don't want to go with a group that could potentially sell me out so that they could continue to live whatever bullshit existence. And I know there's a lot of, and I've pushed this as well, I'll be honest. I pushed a lot of the whole, that person's a Fed sort of bullshit. I've pushed it, yeah. And, of course, the terrible infighting and whatnot. But a lot of people are just disengaged. And they just want to shitpost again. But that energy is gone. It's no longer 2016. Too much has happened. Too many people have been arrested. Too many people have died. And we can't go back to that time. We cannot. So we're stuck here. We're stuck here just kind of going along. A lot of people feel it. They feel what's happening. The disintegration all around them. But they're comfortable. They don't want to give up what they have, whatever little they have left. They don't want to do that. And it's disappointing. It is. But that's the only realistic option, is just to be aware of it, but be cautious. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Be careful of what groups you join, because of feds, because of LARPers, because of whatever you want to say. People who are out looking for glory, who are being adventurists in the leftist sense. But this is where we are. These are just the first steps, mind you. Like I said, the January 6th protesters are living in, probably they are in horrible conditions in incarceration right now. And plenty of people will virtue signal about them, and I'm attempting to right now, I'll be honest. But this is just the beginning. Whether, if you want to look at this in a Bolshevik revolution sort of context or whatever, the Okhrana must have been pretty awful. This is nothing yet. The torture that occurred under Pinochet, or whatever you want to say, if I want to strike a balance, is coming. That sort of, strapping electrodes to your nads sort of stuff, that's coming. It probably already is, but it's going to be much more readily seen in time. And we have to be ready for that. People have been talking about this for a long time. What's that? Yep, they're sweeties. We have to be aware of that. And there are going to be plenty of... I'm going to go here. I don't want to. I know people are going to say, of course you do, of course you do. Because I'm saying it in my head, but there are going to be plenty of martyrs. Plenty of people who are going to be forgotten, who gave their lives for the revolution, whether they be left wing or right wing, or whatever they are in between. There are going to be plenty of people who are going to be seen as martyrs. There are going to be plenty of people who are just victims. And when it happens, it's going to happen. You can write your own story, though. There are plenty of people who were cowards, who made themselves into heroes because they control the narrative and everything in between, right? Think about the movie Saving Private Ryan. They got that Corporal Upham, right? Corporal Upham, this guy who does translation work, who speaks German. Coward pretty much the whole way through. Couldn't get up to save Mellish for whatever spirit he had. He's up there crying, holding that gun and having the bandolier of 30 cal ammo. Couldn't get up there. And that SS guy kills him, right? That SS trooper, SS Schütze, kills him. And of course, he just puts up his hand. The SS trooper continues on, And then, of course, what happens at the end? After the planes come out and everything, then he acts like a big shot. Die Waffenkiller and all this sort of stuff. Says "Haut ab." Shoots the German prisoner that they saw earlier, that they let go. Upham shoots him, and then he says "Haut ab, die Spinde," and off they go. And he can make himself in his own mind say that he's a hero. There are plenty of events like that. Like I said, this goes back, and I'm going to use somebody that people are going to be like, ooh. But if they actually read Umberto Eco, and they actually found out more than just using him for, fascism or whatnot, you'll say that there are plenty of folks who, it's like nobody wanted to be, it's like he didn't want to be a hero. He just wanted to be an honest coward like everybody else. I'm thinking that was Umberto Eco. But like I say, Umberto Eco spent most of his career studying medieval art. That was most of his career. But of course, people, like I say, unfortunately, they simplified him to just that. Much as the way as, right-wing folks will simplify Carl Schmitt to, my enemy friend distinction, He did far more than that, but, that's what people simplify him at. Same thing with Junger, same thing with whomever else, People are used for narratives so that they can, they use people from the past to defend their own regime, right? Or defend their own beliefs. It's just the way it goes. I've done it too. I'm just being honest. But anyway, we have to be aware that, people are going to see themselves as the way they want to. And maybe in their mind, they see themselves as a hero. Maybe in, someone else, they see themselves as, maybe they'll be like an Ira Hayes. And, because they couldn't save their buddies, they saw themselves as cowards. And he drank himself to death. But that is the way conflicts go. And this conflict is already here. People are just waiting for it to gain speed. And people are saying, why isn't it getting worse in the U.S.? It's because nobody wants to choose sides. I think to a point, people know that there's a war going on, but they don't want to choose a side. They just want to try to maintain what they have. And it's going to have to get a lot worse. And it's going to have to require, like I said, we've seen how close the economy is right now to the edge, how close it is to the cliff. But I think it requires, a loss of power. It requires a loss of literal electrical power and sort of people finally tuning off from TV, the boomers, and having to confront the real issues that are out there. And when they do that, then people are going to choose sides. But until that point, people still want to maintain civility. They still want to maintain what they have. So how bad is it going to get? How many more people have to be arrested? How many more Ethan Crumleys are going to have to come about? How many more riots? How many more George Floyds? Your guess is as good as mine. But it's going to be a hard road. I think anyone who's realistic knows it's going to be a hard road. And that this system doesn't offer us anything other than more of the same. But many people are okay with that, as long as they can maintain what they have. But even soon, I think the system won't even be able to do that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just cringe. I don't know. Anyway, this has been a long bit of rant, and occasionally I get histrionic and occasionally get a little bit dramatic, which is what I've done here. But I hope y'all enjoyed that. And see you later. Goodbye.